So, there's this quiet battle being fought in Germany's classrooms. And it's not with books or chalk, it's all about bits and bytes. We're talking about a huge clash between tradition and technology, pitting this deep-seated fear of the new against the unstoppable promise of the future. And what's at the very center of this struggle? Artificial intelligence. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Now, this little robot, it might look pretty friendly, right? But for a lot of people in the German education system, it represents a really profound threat. It's become the face of a digital revolution that, well, isn't always met with open arms. More often, it's met with some deep suspicion and a whole lot of resistance.
You know, to really get a handle on this resistance, you first have to understand this cultural idea called German Angst. It's a term for this collective, almost foundational anxiety that exists about the future and the unknown. Historically, it's acted as this kind of cultural shield against the uncertainties of change, and right now, that shield is pointed squarely at digitization.
So, how does this cultural fear actually play out in the real world? Let's start our diagnosis. We're going to look at the direct line between this German angst and the pushback against AI in schools.
This quote, wow, it really gets to the heart of the matter. See, it's not just framed as a simple fear of technology. The source suggests that these educators see themselves as something more, like cultural defenders, modern knights who are protecting a certain ideal of education. So the file folder and the fountain pen, they aren't just tools, they're symbols of a more human analog world that they're trying desperately to hold on to.
So who exactly are these people embodying this resistance? The source uses a pretty strong term for them, KI-Leugner, which basically means AI deniers. And let's take a look at the symptoms of this mindset.
And here's a really crucial point from the source. The biggest obstacle isn't policy, and it's not politicians, it's the teachers. Now, that's not to say they're just being stubborn. You have to remember, many feel incredibly overworked, completely unsupported, and now they're being confronted with yet another new demand on their already limited time. So this resistance, it's often coming from a place of just pure exhaustion.
To really understand this perspective, let's imagine an archetype, right? Let's call him Herr Schneider, a history teacher. For him, real education happens through dialogue, through the tangible experience of holding a book and debating its ideas face to face. He looks at AI and sees something that could undermine the very critical thinking he's trying so hard to build in his students.
Or let's consider another viewpoint, maybe from our archetypical math teacher, Frau Lang. Her worry is that AI tools are just going to give students the answers, which stops them from developing those essential skills of problem solving and thinking things through on their own. She sees her job as being a guide, not an IT support specialist.
And this is where we see the real-world consequence of all this in action. While teachers are debating the philosophy of it all, their students are the ones falling behind. They're about to enter a world where knowing how to use AI isn't just a nice little bonus. It's a fundamental, essential skill for the modern workforce.
But what if this entire conflict is based on a totally false premise? What if we're all just asking the wrong question? And that brings us to a really critical turning point in our explainer, the reframe. This is it. This is the question that changes everything. Instead of seeing AI as this rival that's coming to take over the classroom, what if we started seeing it as a tool that's actually designed to empower the teacher? Not a replacement, but an assistant.
Let's break this reframe down a bit. The fear is that AI is going to replace human connection. But the reality? It could just handle all the boring stuff, the grading, the scheduling, all that administrative busy work. The fear is that some algorithm will dictate what kids learn. But the reality is that AI can give instant, personalized feedback so that every single student gets the help they need right when they need it.
And here is the single most important point. AI gives back the one thing every overworked teacher desperately needs: more time. We're talking about more time for one-on-one coaching, for deeper discussions, for all the human-centric parts of teaching that really, truly matter.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in a real classroom? Let's get into the prescription here and see how AI can actually work as a powerful classroom assistant.
So the benefits we see here, they directly tackle some of the biggest challenges in education today. I mean, imagine being able to create personalized learning paths for a classroom full of different kids, or offering instant, objective feedback that's just impossible for one teacher with 30 students. And most importantly, this whole approach prepares students for the world they're actually going to live and work in.
And you have to remember, AI isn't just one thing. On the one hand, it can be this super precise diagnostic tool, analyzing a student's essay to pinpoint exactly where they're struggling with spelling and grammar.
But on the other hand, it can be a creative partner, helping them spark new ideas and visualize concepts.
Check out this fantastic example from the source material. So, students were asked to invent a fairy tale character and describe them. Then, they used an AI image generator to bring that character to life, right from their own text. All of a sudden, a simple writing assignment becomes this cool creative adventure, and it directly connects their language skills with technology. It's a huge motivator.
And this isn't just some sci-fi idea for the future. Platforms like MOOCs are already doing this, and at a massive scale. They're using AI to create online courses that literally adapt to each individual's learning style, offering a truly personalized education.
Okay, so we've seen the problem, we've reframed it, and we've looked at some potential solutions. So where do we go from here? What's the prognosis for actually getting this right?
The source lays out a really clear 5-step plan. Step 1, and this is probably the most important one, is properly educating and training teachers so they feel confident, not threatened. Then comes Step 2, developing clear ethical guidelines to handle things like data privacy and just ensure fairness for everyone. Step 3 is about getting everyone, teachers, parents, policymakers, on the same page, collaborating. Step 4 is adapting education policies so it can actually keep up with the tech.
And finally, the plan really hammers home that this isn't a one-and-done fix. Success here depends on a continuous cycle of improvement. You plan it, you do it, you check the results, and then you act on that feedback to make it better. It's a process, not some product you just buy off the shelf. And that really brings us back to the core idea of this whole explainer. The technology is here, it's available, and it's getting better every single day. The biggest, most difficult hurdle we have to overcome isn't the software or the hardware. It's the German angst, that cultural fear, that resistance to change. It's the mindset.
So, the question that's facing Germany's education system, and really all of us, is a pretty simple one when you boil it down. It's a choice. Are we going to cling to the familiar comfort of the past, or are we going to embrace the powerful and, maybe intimidating tools of the future? That decision is what's going to define the next generation.